Hi, everybody. Carol Tinsley here with Team Southern Home Sales of Keller Williams Middle Georgia Realty. Just wanted to stop in and talk to you for a few minutes about what to expect when you're buying. A lot of times, especially if you're a first-time home buyer, it's been a while since you've been in the market for a new home. You may not know what all the steps are, so I'm just going to go over them shortly. We're going to expand on some. We're going to talk about what to do from the time you first start thinking about buying a home till you actually close and get the keys. So you ready? Let's go. Um, First thing you want to do is be thinking about what do you want to look for in a home? Where do you want to live? What's important to you? Are schools important to you? Or being close to family and friends, is that important? Where do you want to live? What type of home appeals to you? Do you like a new modern home with all the bells and whistles? Do you like a more traditional older home that's got a little bit more character and some hidden gems like great hardwood floors or little nooks and crannies that may be all over the place? Whatever you like, there's a home for you. So once you kind of get that idea what you want, contact your realtor. I hope it's me, Carol Tinsley, because I'm going to work hard for you, um, and we'll get started on the process. Number one, most important thing to do is get pre-qualified. Right now, the housing market is a little bit different because of the COVID-19 scare and the coronavirus going on. So the way we look at homes, the way we view homes, and the way we tour homes has changed. Some of this has been in the making way before coronavirus came, so this is not new. Virtual tours are really like the thing right now. A lot of sellers, especially if they're living in their homes, don't want people in and out that aren't serious about their homes. So in order to make sure they have serious buyers in their home, they're requiring a pre-qualification letter. You get that from your lender. They can discuss with you. They can look at your credit history. They can look at all the things that the lenders look at and determine what amount they will pre-qualify you for. Keep in mind, just because you pre-qualify for amount you may not want to spend that much on a home. You have to decide what type of mortgage payment you're comfortable with. And it's ultimately up to you how much you spend or don't spend on a home. So just because you may pre-qualify for $250,000 doesn't mean you have to spend that much on a new home. So just kind of keep that in mind. Know that the market is a little tight right now. Inventory's down. We don't typically see that kind of thing in the spring, but it is what it is here in 2020. So inventory's tight. Where it used to be, you might could look at 3 or 4 or 5 homes in one day. That's really not going to be probably practical. In most cases now, we're making appointments for 24 hours in advance if someone's living in the home. And it depends on their lifestyle and what they've got going on. Some sellers are limiting the amount of hours that they'll allow a home to be showed. So we just kind of have to work with all that, where it used to be a lot more flexible. Just keep in mind, doing virtual tours and seeing what a home looks like through a virtual tour can sometimes let you know whether yay or nay, I don't need to see any more of this, or I would like a closer look. Most sellers don't expect you to buy a house without ever being in it. So at some point during the process, you will get to tour a home if you think it might be your dream home. Just know that that may be a little bit iffy, but get that pre-qualification letter, and that's going to open a lot more doors for you and get us in so we can see the homes that you qualify for and the ones that you're interested in. The second thing we'll do after the pre-qualification is we'll start looking at homes for you, and we'll determine what neighborhoods, and that's something you can do right now this minute. You can do a research of neighborhoods. I recommend anytime you're looking at buying a house that you drive through the neighborhood at different times of the day, morning, lunchtime, afternoon, evening, on the weekends, and you can kind of get a feel of how the neighbors are moving around and how what kind of traffic you might see going through the neighborhood. Just different things that you might look at to let you know. I know one thing, when I moved into my neighborhood, it was very quiet. It was mostly older families, older retiree age family. There weren't really families here, and that's changed in the last 12 years. Now there's a lot of families, and I have found myself that while the kids have been home from school, I have been ding dong ditched a couple of times, and I've got bike tracks through my front yard and all kinds of different things that weren't the case 12 years ago. So neighborhoods change, and know that you want to get a feel, because you do not want to be living next door to somebody whose teenage son has a garage band. So that's just something you want to check out on the weekends and make sure there's not band practice going on till 10 or 11, 12 o'clock at night. Unfortunately, when someone moves into the neighborhood who likes to play drums at 10 o'clock at night with their garage door open, there's not a whole lot you can do about it once you live there, but you can avoid that if you check out the neighborhoods and be sure, just drive through different times of the day and get a feel of what it's like going on. Once we look at a house, you find your house, you're ready to make an offer, we're going to make that offer. I'm going to look at the comparables of houses that have sold in the neighborhood and around, and we're going to come to a fair price. And we're going to make that offer. There's a lot of steps that go into negotiating a house. It isn't just the price. There's different terms to the contract that can be negotiated, and those negotiations can go back and forth. As your real estate specialist, I am going to guide you in the right type of offer to make, and guide you, and I won't let you overpay for a house, and I'm not going to get you into a contract that is not going to be beneficial for you. Trust me on that. After we have got an offer, and then we've got a contract, and it's been bound is the technical term for it. That means both parties have come to agreement. We signed it. We're ready to do the deal. We're going to enter into what's called the due diligence period. Let me back up one step. As soon as that contract is bound, you will be asked to make your earnest money deposit. Earnest money is good faith money. It tells the seller, I am serious about buying this house. I want to buy this house. I'm ready to go. You're going to write that earnest money check. And that's one of those negotiating points that I was talking about, is sometimes the earnest money can be as little as $500. Sometimes the seller may want more. And it also will come into play a little bit later on when we're asking about repairs to a house. If the seller thinks they're going to lose some money if the deal doesn't go through, they might want a little bit more earnest money. But know that that's going to be due within 3 business days of signing the contract being bound. So expect to have that ready. Now, that money isn't just money that just is lost to you. That money gets credited back to your side of the transaction when we go to the closing table. And if for any reason the contract terminates, depending on the terms of the termination and how it terminates, will also depend on if you get your earnest money back. And we'll talk about that more when we talk about what happens when we talk in person when you get ready to buy a home. So we've got our contract bound, we've got our earnest money deposit made. Now we're entering into a due diligence period. This is another area of negotiation in a contract. Due diligence can run anywhere from 0 days to 14 days to 28 days. It's another way of negotiation. Usually they're around 7. This is the time when you'll get your home inspector to come in and do a complete inspection of the home. That usually runs between $300 and $500, depending on what company you choose to go with. And they're going to look the house over from top to bottom. They're going to look at the heating and cooling. They're going to look at the roof, the hot water heater. They're going to get up in the attic. They're going to most likely send a termite guy out to do a termite inspection, make sure there's not any termite damage in the home or active termites or any signs of any kind of bugs or rodents or critters. And they're going to give you that report. Now, based on that report, we'll go into another step in negotiation, and that is for home repairs. And if they find something blaring that you don't think you want to deal with, we can go back and ask for repairs to be added to the contract. And this is a normal everyday practice. It happens in almost all contracts that there are some repairs that I've asked for. I've seen repairs from as little as painting the front door to completely overhauling the HVAC system. So it just really depends on all kinds of factors that are going on. But again, all of that's negotiable. If something comes up in the home inspection, or if you just decide you really don't want to buy this house, you just completely changed your mind, you want out of it for whatever reason, you don't even have to have a reason. During that due diligence period, you can just back out, terminate the contract, take your earnest money, and go home. So you're not really hurting yourself or risking yourself losing money during that due diligence period. Do know, as your realtor, I'm going to stay on top of those deadlines, on top of that due diligence, and I'm not going to let it go past due diligence without us having an agreement on the condition of the home and the repairs, because we have to get an agreement on having those repairs done within that due diligence period, or you're going to lose your earnest money. I'm not about having you lose money. So we're going to keep a close eye on that and make sure everything's going around according to schedule. The home inspection, you can be there. In some cases with the coronavirus, inspectors are asking that you not be there. As the realtor, I will most likely be there, whether you the buyer are or not. I just feel like I'm opening the door to the property for the inspector, and I just feel like it's my responsibility to make sure everything goes smoothly while that inspector is in the house. But you don't have to be there, but you can be there. And the inspector will deliver us a full report after that is over with. All right, so now we're past due diligence and we're into the nitty-gritty countdown, wait down time of the contract. And that's why we're waiting for the lender and the financing to do their thing. There will be a financing exhibit on your contract when we execute it, and that will tell what type of loan you're getting, whether you're getting FHA, conventional, VA, USDA, and different loan types have different requirements. So we're going to again be in a contingency period with that loan, and it's usually 21 to 28 days. I like to carry it as far possible as I can. Sometimes I have to back it back a little bit to negotiate, but I do like to carry it as far out as I can to avoid you losing your earnest money if there's any financing problems at the last minute. Again, I'm wanting to look out for you and your earnest money. I don't want you to lose it. But the financing contingency will go. Once we get through that, we are on our way to close. We will be waiting to get a closing disclosure from the loan officer or the lender. We'll be getting that clear to close, that all important clear to close. It tells us we're good to go. Your loan is funded and it's time to get the keys. At the closing table, we will sign a lot of paper. A lot of paper. I am telling you, a lot of paper. When I bought my house, I was shocked. I couldn't believe how many things I had to sign. And you'll find out that a lot of things you're signing the same thing 2 or 3 times for different people. So be prepared to sign a lot of paper. If you have any money that's due at closing, that will most likely be wired. It'll be on your closing disclosure, how much to wire ahead at a time. You wire it to the attorney's office, and we will sign all that paperwork, and we will hand you the keys to your brand new house. It can, or well, not brand new, but new to you, you know, unless you got a brand new house. If you want a new house, we can get you that. There's a lot of things that go into it, and it's not as simple as a short video, you know, can tell you. But know that as an agent, I'm trained. I know what to look for. I know how to negotiate. I know the market, and I know how to get you the best deal on your house. So if you're thinking about buying, I encourage you to Get in touch with us. My phone number is 678-431-1387. You can email me at caroltinsley@kw.com. Excuse my distraction, but there's a couple of birds fighting out the window outside. caroltinsley@kw.com. You can look at my website, carol-tinsley. carol.tinsley.com. I can't even remember my own website. And I'd encourage you, if you'd like to, let me send you the link to my app. Now, one of the great things about this app is it works just like Zillow or one of those other ones, but you don't get those pesky calls from all those pesky real estate agents when you're just looking or want some information. I can give you that information, anything you want. So if you want the app, send me a text message and I will text it right on over to you. And in the meantime, if either me or Melissa can help you, please reach out to us at Team Southern Home Sales, and we will look forward to helping you get into your new home. Thank you, and remember, always be excellent to each other. Have a great day.